So I want you, the listener, to just take a second and look at the items you are wearing or carrying right now. Like, really look at them.
Yeah, take an inventory.
Exactly. Just count how many of them have a visible logo on them. Because I was doing this earlier, and it's kind of wild. We have all basically been conditioned to be these walking billboards for brands.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Right. It's like we confuse a massive company's trademark with our own actual identity. We think, I'm the person who wears this specific logo, as if that says something deep about us.
Well, it does say something, but maybe not what we think it says.
Yeah, exactly. And that is exactly what we are getting into today. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are exploring this incredibly fascinating, almost secretive world of bespoke, fully customized luxury.
It is a totally different universe from what most people think of when they hear the word luxury.
It really is. We are looking at all this through the lens of a designer named Vlad Bykov. We've got this amazing stack of sources we've been going through, including his actual design philosophy manifestos, plus some really stunning visual evidence of the pieces he has created.
The photos alone are just, they are completely striking.
They are. So our mission for this deep dive is to uncover how a master designer uses this process he calls a deep dialogue. He basically uses it to extract a client's deepest, most hidden psychological traits.
Right. And then the really crazy part is how he translates those abstract personality quirks into actual physical design details. And he does it all without a single logo.
Which is just wild to me. We are exploring this huge shift, moving away from luxury as this public, loud display of wealth and shifting toward luxury as a highly private, soul-level extension of the self.
I mean, we really need to set the tone here, because this isn't just about fashion or buying expensive shoes.
No, not at all.
It's actually a masterclass in psychology. It's about human communication, and it's about completely redefining what the word value actually means in a world where prestige is just mass-produced.
So true. So welcome to the conversation. Let's just unpack this, because the very first thing that jumps out when you look at these photographs of Bykov's work is his absolute, just uncompromising rejection of the billboard effect.
He hates the billboard effect.
He really does. I was staring at this one source image. It's a photograph of a bag he designed. And it's this stunning white and gray crocodile leather bag.
Oh, the one resting on the rocks.
Yes. It's photographed sitting on these rugged, earthy rocks. It looks so magnificent. And then there's another image in the stack of a pair of pristine cream-colored crocodile mules, also just resting against stone.
The contrast is beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and the craftsmanship is just so obvious. You can practically feel the texture of the leather right through the screen. But the thing that really hit me, the most striking detail, is what isn't there.
Right, the absolute void of branding.
Exactly. There is absolutely zero branding on the outside of these items. There are no metal clasps shaped like a designer's initials. There's no stamped name, nothing. It is literally the death of the billboard.
Which, from a business perspective, is an incredibly risky move in the modern luxury market. Because if we look at the broader landscape of luxury, the vast majority of these big fashion houses, they rely entirely on what economists call Veblen goods.
Veblen goods. Okay, let's define that for the listener, because that's crucial here.
Right, so it's named after Thorstein Veblen. He was a sociologist who actually coined the term conspicuous consumption way back in the late 19th century.
Oh, wow. So this is an old concept.
Very old. A Veblen good is basically a product where the demand for it actually goes up as the price goes up, which contradicts basic economics, right?
Yeah, usually if something gets more expensive, people buy less of it.
Exactly. But with Veblen goods, the high price is the point. It makes it an exclusive status symbol. And the visible logo is the primary mechanism for signaling that status to everyone else.
It's the shortcut.
Yes, it's the shortcut that tells everyone in the room, hey, I had the financial resources to acquire this.
It's like heavily branded luxury items are basically the equivalent of a person standing at a party and just shouting their resume at everyone.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, look at my interlocking letters, look how rich I am. Whereas Bykov's designs, they feel like the quiet, intensely confident person sitting in the corner of that same party. The one who just commands respect without having to say a single word.
Because if you take the interlocking letters off a heavily branded canvas tote bag, what is it?
It's just a canvas tote bag.
Exactly, something that's just a canvas bag. The logo is doing 99% of the heavy lifting. But Bykov's philosophy is that true luxury is defined by the inherent, actual physical properties of the material itself.
Not a stamped logo.
Right. It's the luster, it's the tactile touch, the natural texture of top-tier materials. When you completely strip the logo away, As a creator, you have nowhere to hide.
Oh, I see. Because you can't distract the buyer with a shiny brand name.
Exactly. Any flaw in the geometry of the shoe or any imperfection in the tanning of that crocodile leather, it becomes instantly glaring. Relying on a trademark is a shortcut. Relying on raw material requires absolute perfection.
Okay, but I want to push back on this for a second. Because, sure, the craftsmanship argument makes total sense. But let's look at human nature here.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I am spending what I can only imagine is a massive fortune on bespoke, ultra-luxury shoes or bags, isn't human nature fundamentally wired to want other people to know about it?
Well, we are social creatures, yeah.
Right. We signal our status to the tribe. It secures our place in the hierarchy. If I buy a Ferrari, I kind of want people to know it's a Ferrari, you
Right,
know?
yeah, of course.
So my question is, why hide it? Is this concept of quiet luxury really just about superior craftsmanship, or is it honestly just a pretentious rationalization for ultra-rich people to hoard resources out of the public eye?
That is such a good question.
Like, is this just another form of elitist gatekeeping?
It is absolutely a form of gatekeeping, yes. But the nature of the gate has totally changed. To understand what Bykov is doing, we have to talk about post-status signaling, or inconspicuous consumption.
Inconspicuous consumption. Okay, I like that.
Right, so think about the world today. Mass-produced luxury is pretty easily accessible to the upper middle class now. Plus, counterfeit goods are so good, they're nearly indistinguishable from the real thing.
Oh, true. You see high school kids walking around with designer belts.
Exactly. So loud logos have completely lost their signaling power among the actual ultra-wealthy. If anyone could just save up for a few months and buy a belt with a massive gold logo on it, the logo no longer signals elite status.
What is a signal then?
It signals a desire to be perceived as having status.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like the old money versus new money dynamic. The loudest person in the room is usually the one who feels they have the most to prove.
Precisely. And Bykov is targeting a level of clientele that has totally transcended the need for that external validation. They have already climbed the mountain. They don't need to prove to a stranger on the street that they're successful.
You already know they are.
Right. So the real question Bykov is answering is what is actually valuable to a person who already has everything.
And that's where this soul luxury concept comes in.
Yes, soul luxury. It's not about signaling to others anymore. It is about creating a psychological sanctuary for the self. The value is this intimate, emotional connection with the object.
So the transaction is totally shifted. Instead of buying something to manipulate how other people look at you, you are buying something to manipulate how you feel about yourself.
Exactly. It's private.
Okay, that structural explanation makes it so much clearer, but it brings up a huge logistical problem.
How so?
Well, if you strip away the logo, you are stripping away the wearer's external prepackaged identity, right? You're no longer the guy wearing brand X. But that creates this massive psychological vacuum. If the outside isn't screaming a brand name, and the designer isn't just pulling some generic trendy template off a shelf, how does the designer know what to build for you?
Yes.
Like, it has to start long before a single piece of leather is cut. How do they fill that vacuum without just guessing what you might like?
And that brings us perfectly to the core of Bykov's whole method. We need to talk about his title. He doesn't call himself a designer, and he doesn't call himself a shoemaker. He refers to himself as your couturier.
Your couturier.
And his foundational motto, the thing he builds everything on, is everything is created around you.
Okay, we should definitely define that term, because I think a lot of people might hear couturier and just think it's a fancy French word for a tailor.
Oh, it is so much more than a tailor.
Right. There's a distinct difference between a tailor, a ready-to-wear designer, and an actual couturier.
A massive difference. So a ready-to-wear designer, they create a vision for a season, right? And they just hope the public buys into it. You, the consumer, have to conform to their sizing and their specific aesthetic.
Right, you fit yourself into their box.
Exactly. Now, a tailor takes an existing garment or a standard pattern and alters it to fit your specific physical measurements. But a true couturier, and this is a tradition that goes way back, they start with an entirely blank slate.
A completely blank slate.
Yes. They are not just fitting your physical body, they're fitting your entire life. And Bykov insists that every single piece he makes has to begin with this process he calls a deep dialogue.
The deep dialogue. I was so fascinated by this part of the sources because when I first read consultation or dialogue, I just assumed it was a really high-end fitting.
Like they offer you a glass of champagne and ask your shoe size.
Yeah. Like, do you prefer blue or black leather or What's your budget? But the way this deep dialogue is described is something much more intense. It sounds like an investigative, almost anthropological conversation.
It really is.
Yeah.
Think of it like an architect who gets hired to build a really complex, customized house right on the edge of a cliffside.
Oh, okay.
An amateur builder might just look at a picture of the cliff and, start laying bricks. But a master architect, they conduct an exhaustive soil analysis first.
Right, they have to know what they're building on.
Exactly. They need to know the bedrock composition, the wind shear, the erosion patterns. If they don't understand the underlying terrain, any house they build is eventually going to crack and fall down. The deep dialogue is basically Bykov's psychological soil analysis of his client.
I love that analogy, the psychological soil analysis. Because if you don't understand the terrain of the client's psyche, the shoe or the bag, whatever it is, it will eventually feel alien to them. They won't wear it.
They'll abandon it in their closet.
So how does he actually do this? What are the mechanics of this dialogue? Because honestly, most people don't even know their own deepest psychological needs.
That's very true.
Let alone feel comfortable explaining those deep needs to a designer they just met to buy some shoes. How does he guide them to open up?
Well, it requires just an immense amount of emotional intelligence from the designer. He isn't sitting there asking, hey, what are your deepest psychological fears?
Right, that would be a terrible business model.
It would be awkward. No. Instead, he asks highly specific questions about the biomechanics and the emotional rhythm of the client's day.
Like what kind of questions?
He asks things like, when you get out of your car in the morning, what kind of surface are you physically stepping onto?
Oh, wow.
Right. He asks about their travel frequency. He asks, in what environments do you feel the need to project absolute authority, and what environments do you finally feel completely at peace?
That's amazing. So he is essentially reverse engineering their emotional state based on their daily habits. He's acting almost like a mirror or a therapist, carefully listening to how they talk about their stresses and their triumphs.
Yes. And he's watching how they answer, not just what they say. Are they tense when they discuss board meetings? Do their shoulders physically drop and relax when they talk about weekends at home?
He's extracting their underlying baseline vibe.
Exactly. By deeply understanding the client, Bykov can just completely discard generic mass-market trends. He doesn't care what color is popular in Milan this season. He focuses entirely on creating a specific, tailored reality for the person sitting across from him.
I am just marveling at the psychology of this. The vulnerability required from the client is huge. You are trusting this designer not just with your money, but with your literal self-image.
It's a huge leap of faith.
But okay, let's look at the transition here, because eventually the conversation has to finish. The soil analysis is done, the vibe is extracted. Now the designer actually has to make choices.
Right, the actual construction phase.
How do you take abstract concepts from a dialogue like, this client is highly stressed but wants to feel approachable, and translate those invisible concepts into physical, tangible materials?
And that is where we get into the vocabulary of materials. In this tier of bespoke design, materials like different exotic leathers are not just fabrics, they are adjectives.
Adjectives.
Yes, they have intrinsic physical properties that communicate highly specific psychological traits.
Okay, let's look at the visual evidence of this from the sources, because the contrast between two of the specific pieces he created is just incredible.
The suede versus the crocodile.
Exactly. First, we have this image of a pair of vibrant, almost sunset orange Italian suede mules.
They are beautiful.
And the photograph shows them being worn very casually. The wearer is stepping out of a dark vehicle, and they're stepping onto what looked like a rough, dusty gravel road.
Right, the context of the photo matters.
Yeah, the pants are rolled up, the ankle is exposed, it's an effortless look. But then, in stark contrast, we have other images showing these commanding, highly structured, deep green crocodile leather mules. The materials cannot be more different.
They are biologically and psychologically completely different. Let's break down the language of those materials, starting with the Italian suede.
Okay, let's do it. What does suede say?
To understand why suede feels the way it does, we have to look at how it's actually made. Suede is derived from the underside of the animal hide.
The underside.
Yeah, the leather is split. The top grain, which is the tough, weather-resistant exterior, is removed. That exposes the corium layer beneath. And this layer is then sanded and buffed to create the nap. That's those tiny raised fibers that give suede its velvety texture.
So structurally, it is literally softer because it lacks the hardened outer shell?
Precisely. And in because of that nap, Suede actually absorbs light rather than reflecting it. It doesn't shine, it glows.
Oh, that's a great distinction.
Psychologically, this communicates a really laid-back, approachable, yet highly refined energy. The source text actually connects this to the Japanese aesthetic concept of wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi, which is the appreciation for the imperfect and the relaxed, right?
Exactly. So in the image you described, the bright orange color suggests a vibrant, extroverted personality. But because that color is rendered in the soft, light-absorbing texture of suede, the energy stays totally grounded.
It's not aggressive.
No, it says, I am vibrant, but I am entirely at ease in my environment.
That makes total sense. It's a very specific type of quiet confidence. It invites you to touch it. Now, what about the crocodile leather? Because that gives off a completely different, almost intimidating aura.
Crocodile leather is the absolute structural and psychological opposite of relaxed suede. Again, we have to look at the biology.
Okay.
Unlike cowhide, which is mostly pliable collagen fibers, crocodile skin actually contains osteoderms.
Osteoderms.
Yes, these are actual bony deposits. It is essentially bone-in skin located within the scales on the back and neck of the animal. It is literal biological armor designed to protect an apex predator.
Wait, really? There is actual bone inside the scale?
Actual bone. And because of that, tanning and working with crocodile leather is a hyper-specialized, incredibly difficult chemical process.
I can imagine.
If you tan it incorrectly, those calcium deposits will cause the scales to snap and crack when the leather bends. And furthermore, to get that high-gloss finish, it isn't just painted on.
How do they do it?
It goes through a process called glazing. They roll these heavy, polished agate stones over the skin under immense pressure. It compresses the fibers and forces the natural oils to the surface. It creates a mirror-like shine that fiercely reflects light.
Oh, wow. So while the suede absorbs light and invites you in, the crocodile leather reflects light and creates a hard boundary.
Exactly. When Bykov chooses crocodile leather for a client, he's speaking a structural language of undeniable power, rigidity, and formidable presence.
It's literal armor.
It's armor.
Yeah.
It doesn't need bright colors to stand out because the natural prehistoric architecture of the scales does all the talking. It is assertive.
Okay, I want to pause and ask you, the listener, to imagine this. Think about everything we just discussed regarding the deep dialogue and the biology of these materials. If you were sitting across from a master couturier doing a soil analysis of your daily life, which material matches your outer shell?
It's a fun exercise.
Are you the approachable, vibrant orange suede? Or are you the armored, powerful crocodile leather? How do you navigate the external world?
It really makes you think about how you present yourself.
It does. But here's where this deep dive gets really crazy. Because while the outer material reflects how the client navigates the world, the true magic of Bykov's work is hidden completely out of sight.
Right. The secret self. This is where we get into defining true intimate luxury.
This is honestly the emotional climax of all the source material for me, because we focus intensely on one specific design here, the black quilted mules.
Ah, yes. The contrast piece.
Yes. Let me paint the picture for the listener. From the outside, these shoes are incredibly understated. The quilting is soft, the black is matte, they are low-key and completely quiet.
Very unassuming.
If you saw someone wearing them in a boardroom, you wouldn't look twice. But the inside, the part that only the wearer sees, it features a profoundly striking, bright red lining.
This is the genius of what we call visual contrast, and it's a direct result of that deep dialogue.
Break that down for us. Why red on the inside of a boring black shoe?
Well, the designer recognized a client who has to maintain a professional, stoic exterior for their daily life. They have to blend in. But during the dialogue, he uncovered that this person actually possesses a wild, passionate, highly energetic inner personality.
So the outside is their corporate armor and the inside is who they really are.
Yes. And we can actually look at this through the psychological framework of enclosed cognition.
Enclosed cognition.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area of study. It examines how clothes systematically influence the wearer's actual psychological processes.
Wait, I think I've heard of this. Is this the doctor's coat experiment?
That's the one. So researchers Hajo Adam and Adam Galinsky conducted this classic experiment. They gave subjects a white coat. When they told the subjects it was a doctor's coat, the subject's attention to detail and cognitive focus increased significantly.
Because they associated the coat with being a careful, precise doctor.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. When they gave other subjects the exact same coat, but told them it belonged to a painter, the cognitive boost completely disappeared.
Wow. So the physical experience of wearing it, combined with the symbolic meaning, literally changes how your brain operates.
Exactly. So apply that to the black and red shoes.
Yeah.
Bykov's core belief is that the most gorgeous, wildest details should be reserved exclusively for the wearer. It is an intimate visual contrast.
It's like a Clark Kent and Superman dynamic.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
The world sees the calm, black quilted exterior Clark Kent, but only you feel the vibrant red energy Superman hugging your feet. It's a secret you carry with you all day.
And think about the psychological empowerment that provides in a high-stress environment. You're sitting in a sterile boardroom, but you know you have this vibrant secret.
It's like a speakeasy.
The speakeasy.
Yeah, think about speakeasy architecture from the Prohibition era. From the street, you just see a dull brick wall, maybe a fake laundromat. It's designed to avoid scrutiny.
Right, to blend in.
But the second you step through that hidden door, you are surrounded by roaring jazz and vibrant velvet. When you wear those black quilted shoes with the hidden red lining, you are essentially walking around in a personal speakeasy all day long.
That is exactly what it is. The object serves the psychological needs of the wearer, and the outside world is explicitly denied access to it. It completely redefines the traditional brand experience.
Right, because usually you buy a brand to join their club. Here, the designer is building a club just for you, Population 1.
It's the ultimate private luxury.
So if the outside has no logo and the inside is this secret representation of your soul, how does the designer definitively mark the piece as a finished work of art?
How do they sign the painting without ruining it?
Exactly. Because you can't just slap a big gold Vlad Bykov sticker on the bottom. That reverts right back to being a billboard.
It would destroy the entire philosophy.
Right. So this brings us to what I think is the ultimate proof of Bykov's philosophy. It's the McGregor case study.
The perfect resolution to the problem.
It really is. So let's look at the Conor McGregor situation, which we teased at the very beginning of the deep dive. Conor McGregor is arguably one of the most visible, loud, brand-obsessed men on the planet.
He's made a career out of showing off.
Totally. So for him, Bykov creates these stunning, rich, green crocodile mules. We already talked about the crocodile armor, which is perfect for a fighter.
No.
But true to form, there is no visible logo on the outside.
None.
So what's a hidden detail inside? What is the ultimate flex for a man who loves to flex? Instead of a designer logo, the footbed where the heel rests is stamped in gold. And it reads, "Exclusive for Conor McGregor by couturier Vlad Bykov."
Let's analyze why this is the absolute pinnacle of the bespoke aesthetic. Bykov replaces the traditional corporate brand identity with the client's identity.
He erased his own brand to crown the client's soul.
Exactly. The object officially ceases to be just a shoe. By explicitly naming the client within the architecture of the piece, the shoe becomes a literal, physical extension of Conor McGregor's identity.
It's an incredible shift in the power dynamic. Think about the confidence of the designer here. By placing his own name after the client's by couturier Vlad Bykov, he positions himself as just the humble facilitator.
He's voluntarily stepping out of the spotlight.
Yeah, to let the light shine entirely on the wearer. This is the ultimate evolution from a transactional purchase to a deeply personal collaboration.
When you buy mass-market luxury, you're buying a piece of the designer's legacy. But here, the designer is using their elite skills to help build your legacy.
The gold stamp is a physical certificate of that collaboration.
It says, "This object exists solely because you exist."
This object exists solely because you exist. Man, that gives me chills. It completely validates that foundational motto we talked about. Everything is created around you.
It proves it's not just a marketing slogan. It's a literal truth stamped in gold foil. When McGregor puts those shoes on, he isn't stepping into Vlad Bykov's shoes. He's stepping into a reinforced version of his own psyche.
Which is just the ultimate luxury. So let's synthesize all of this, because we've unpacked so much today.
We really have, from Veblen goods to crocodile osteoderms.
Right. And the enclosed cognition. But the through line is incredibly clear. Vlad Bykov's work proves that true luxury isn't about shouting your wealth to the world with logos.
Not at all. It's about quiet, undeniably top-tier materials on the outside, and a deeply emotional, conversation-driven design on the inside.
It speaks directly to the wearer's soul.
It discards the logo to make the object an intimate extension of the self.
It really is a total paradigm shift. It makes you look at every heavily branded item out there and realize they are all just shouting into the void, hoping for validation. Meanwhile, true luxury is having a quiet, powerful conversation with yourself.
Exactly.
As we wrap this up, I want to bring it back to you, the listener. Think about the items in your own closet right now.
Think about what they say about you.
Yeah, think about how much more meaningful our possessions could be if they were actually crafted to reflect our inner truths, our need for armor, our hidden vibrance, rather than just reflecting a corporation's marketing budget.
It challenges us to fundamentally change the questions we ask when we buy something. Stop asking, what brand am I wearing? And start asking, how does this object support the psychological architecture of my day?
Beautifully said. And I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Okay, lay it on them.
Imagine that exact scenario we talked about. A master couturier sits down with you right now for a 3-hour deep dialogue, a complete psychological soil analysis.
No distraction.
No distractions, just uncovering your true lifestyle, your anxieties, your joys, your hidden traits. If they mapped out your exact psychological terrain, what color and texture would your hidden inner lining be?
Well, that's a great question.
And what secret part of yourself would it represent? Something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.